Nadia, you're back. Thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate it. This is Nana Chats. Let's talk interviews. So, most of the experience that I got with interviewing, or the things that I learned about interviewing, I learned while in law school. Before that, I interviewed for like Stop and Shop and things that were not like super duper professional. I had one interview with a law firm before I went into law school. I got that job, but they were also really desperate for a junior legal assistant, so I don't really know what that says about me. Either way, if you got the job, you got the job, honey. I will be giving you some tips and tricks and sharing some things that I learned from my first year of law school about interviewing in a professional setting. Hopefully this video helps you whether you are interviewing for law firms, courthouses, or any other area or profession, because I'm pretty sure I'm just giving you the basics, and these would be helpful wherever you want to interview. So, are you ready?
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Let's get it. The first thing you want to make sure you're doing all the time, from beginning to end to when you get the job, all the way through, you want to make sure you're always being professional. When they email you, make sure you're professional in email correspondence. If they call you, make sure you are professional over phone calls. A nice trick that I learned for speaking to an employer over the phone is smiling when I'm speaking to them, because this sounds very different from this. They can hear the smile in your voice, and they're not only interviewing you to see if you are qualified for the job, they're also interviewing you to see if you're somebody that they would like to have in their office. So make sure you're smiling when speaking to them over the phone. Before the interview, I would suggest that you do your research on the firm, see what size firm they are, what area of law they practice in, do your research on whatever company you want to work for. What exactly do they do? What do they specialize in? For firms, how many attorneys do they have? Are they a big firm, a small firm, general practice? Do they have a specific area of practice? Are they involved in anything other than law? So, for example, I interviewed for a place that had a blog, which was great because I also had recently started a blog, so I was able to bring it up in the interview. The place that I'll be interning with this summer does a lot of community outreach. You can see all of that on their website. I looked into it, I read about it. They do a lot where I live as well, which is really cool. So I learned about a lot of it online. It's always good to do that research before you go. It gives you confidence. The interview will flow. They'll see that you know what you're talking about, and they'll be impressed with you. I would also say before you go to the interview, make sure you're familiar with your documents. So make sure you're very familiar with your resume. You don't want to get caught not remembering where you worked 7 years ago, but it's there on your resume. You don't want to get caught saying that you worked for this charity and you did this with these people and you was this of this club and you really wasn't. Now she in distress. And then you get caught. So make sure you're familiar with your resume. You want to make sure you're familiar with all of your documents, because it would actually be super embarrassing to get caught not realizing that something is in one of the documents that you're handing in. Another thing to do before your interview would be to prepare your padfolio. So this is my padfolio. You see it? You see it? Cool. This is my padfolio. As you can see here, I have a packet basically of all of my documents. So the documents that you should have are your resume, your transcript, your writing sample, and your recommendation letters if you have any. You should also have a cover letter, I guess, if they asked for that. And any other documents that they may have asked for during the application process. Some employers will print out all of your documents before you get there, so they have them at hand when they're asking you questions, and others won't. You should just always be prepared. Another thing that you should know is that you may not be interviewed by only one person. Most of the interviews that I've been on, I've been interviewed by 2 or 3 people. Sometimes you can be interviewed by a whole panel of people, so you want to make sure you have separate packets. You get a packet, you get a packet, everyone gets a packet. What I usually do before an interview or multiple interviews is I'll print out multiples of each document. So I'll print out like 5 resumes, 5 transcripts, 5 writing samples, 5 recommendation letters, 5 cover letters, whatever. and then I'll put them in order in separate packets. So in one packet will be, like I said, my resume, my transcript, my writing sample, and my recommendation letter. And then I'll use these office clips to clip them together separately. So now I'm going to show you the inside of my Padfolio. As I said before, the documents, the other packets of the documents that I have. I also have here my business cards, because you should always have business cards on you just in case. You never know when you're gonna find somebody that you want to hand a business card to, whether it's in your wallet, your purse, your backpack, whatever. Always have a few business cards with you. And then on this side of a Padfolio is a pad. So on this side, I think I had multiple interviews in one day. So I wrote down the names of the firms, what they specialize in, who would be interviewing me, where they're located, and a few facts that I found on the website that I decided that I could possibly bring up during the interview. Also, I have a pen. Make sure you always have a pen. If you don't have a pen, you're kind of unprepared. When it comes to the writing sample, the advice that I got from my school, not for me specifically, but the advice that they gave everybody was, make sure you do not give out your writing sample if it's not asked for. If they ask for a writing sample, cool. Make sure the writing sample is reviewed by whoever can properly review it in your school. So whether that's your writing professor, your counselor, your writing department, before you hand it in to whoever has asked you for it. But if you are not asked for it, don't just hand it in. If I go to an interview and I have my full packet set up and they ask me for my documents but they didn't ask me for my writing sample, I'm going to unclip the packet and hand them my transcript, my resume, and my recommendation letter. Something else that's very important is the way you dress when you go to an interview. Now, for my curly haired girls, for my natural mamas, for my 4C mamas, for my 3C, 4A, 4B sisters. What I usually do for my hair is I will pull my hair back. So the way I have it right now is kind of like a little, it's like a sock bun type thing. It's not super duper neat, but you know, it works. I have a little sock bun. Sometimes I'll put in a low puff. Sometimes I'll do a crown braid or anything that just has your hair out of your face. If you're a guy, you get a shape up. Hair always out of the face, no matter what hair type you have. Also, I would not wear these for an interview. I would make sure my makeup is nice and natural. Now this face is not that bad, but I probably wouldn't do the eye stuff, even though it looks kind of natural. The inner corners don't, so I probably wouldn't do the eye makeup so much. I'd probably just put on mascara. I don't think I'd even put on eyeliner, and my lips would be a bit calmer. No crazy makeup, no red lip, no purple lip, no black lip, no long nails, no eyelashes that are like gonna fly you to Paris after the interview. Like, no. Make sure everything is calm and professional. On the actual day of the interview, make sure that you are there, and when I say there, I mean like in the office 15 to 20 minutes early. I usually make sure that I set myself up to be there 15 to 20 minutes early, because knowing myself, some crazy stuff will happen to me and then I'll be there late, and that's not cute. You always want to put your best foot forward, so make sure you're there early. Being there early is being there on time. Being there at the time of the interview is being there late. During the interview, the questions that they would ask you in an interview, I'm gonna just read some off to you. They're gonna say, tell me about yourself. Why did you decide to go to law school, or why did you decide to get your master's in business, or psychology, journalism, science, whatever, all that. They're going to ask you basically about yourself to get to know you. Is your GPA an accurate reflection of your abilities? If it is, then you can say yes. If not, then you can say no. Explain why, but don't give excuses like, oh yeah, my professor was this, the class was really hard, blah, blah, blah. No. Also talk about what work you're doing to make sure that you don't get that GPA again. What do you know about our firm, our company, our office, our business? What area of law most interests you? Tell me about your major accomplishments. What are your long-term career goals? They probably won't ask you that for an internship. That would be more for like a real job, but they could possibly. So just prepare your answers for that as well. What interests you most about the legal system? They're definitely going to ask you what are your weaknesses. Now, if they ask you what are your weaknesses and you're applying for a job that requires working with people a lot, do not say my number one weakness is working with people. You're not getting the job. A few good things that you could say for weaknesses is I focus too much on details. What I'd say is I have a hard time letting go of a project. But what I have done to fix that, make sure you always fix it. What I have done to fix that is I can make detailed schedules based on due date. I can move on from assignment to assignment because I would abide by that schedule. Don't say like my number one weakness is getting to work on time. Describe a professional failure and how you handled it. Why should we hire you over the other candidates? And they're also going to ask you what questions you have for them. We'll get back to what questions you have for them soon, but let me just say that whenever you get asked a question for a job, make sure you relate your answer back to the position that you're working for. So when they say tell me about yourself, what I usually say is I am the oldest of 3 children. I am a first generation American, so there's a like little cool fun facts, right? Then we go into I've wanted to be an attorney since I was 11 years old. First I wanted to be an attorney because of Law and Order SVU. But then as I got older, I realized that there's a lot more that goes into it, and it made me fall in love with the practice even more. I related it back to law. I went to a mock interview and the woman saw on my resume that I worked at Stop and Shop. So what was the first thing that she asked me about? My job at Stop and Shop. So I said Stop and Shop was really high pressure. I worked directly with the manager. In that job, I learned a lot of discipline, time management, or organizational skills. I worked well with the customers as well as working well with other employees. And all of those skills are very important when working in a law firm. Relate it back. Always relate it back. They could possibly ask you, especially for law school, what's your favorite class and your least favorite class. In your favorite class, you move on. Your least favorite class, do not mention that it was mad hard and the professor was real difficult and oh my god, that professor was trash, like I hated that class. So what I usually say is my least favorite class was torts because I am not really interested in that area of law. That's it.
Period.
When they ask you if you have any questions for them, make sure you ask them questions. You don't want to be like, okay. You can ask them how they became interested in the area of law that they practice in, if they focused on anything specific in law school, why they chose that firm or organization, how is the work distributed in the office.
You love this. Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous?
Make sure you definitely ask them questions. Remember, not only are they interviewing you, but you're kind of interviewing them. You want to make sure that that place is a place that you want to work. After the interview, the day after, 2 days after, you send a nice little email saying thank you for the opportunity to interview with your firm, organization, business. I really do appreciate your time and consideration. Best wishes or best regards, so and so. Hopefully this video helped you a lot, whether you want to interview for a law firm or for any other type of business company, any other career choice that you have made. So thank you guys for joining me today. I really do appreciate you, as I said multiple times. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Click the notification bell actually so you can see when I post new videos, and I really hope you join me again because this was fun. Thanks guys, bye.